Welcome to the podcast. Finally,
thank you.
We can do this.
Thank you.
Yeah, what we do with our podcast is we host people like you, but majorly the conversation focuses on the person you are and what you're on about, and probably we intend that whoever listens to the podcast learns something from both the host and the guest. From whatever they're doing.
I honestly don't know if anyone's gonna learn anything from me.
I've been watching your TED Talk, so
my
I'm already learning
zero.
No, nothing. Can't be. You did well with that TED thing.
Oh yeah.
How are you on radio? How did you get on radio?
Actually, this is a question so many people ask me all the time, and I literally tell them it was just vibes. It was it was a shoot your shot situation, whereby a few friends of mine and I decided to just pretty much shoot demos and send them out to different media houses. And then Next Radio reached out because they watched ours and they're like, hey, when can you guys actually come in and have a show? Yeah. And we were like, oh, okay, let's do it. That's pretty much it.
Well, Next Radio is how you started radio?
Yeah.
You've not done
no. I did an internship at, was it KFM? Yeah, KFM. This was when I was like 16, 15, somewhere there.
Seems like all your content on YouTube and looks like you've really been designed for this. So it shocks me when you keep saying it's just vibes. I also believe that is how you want to feel safe. Like you want to protect everything else. You don't want to put like a sequency to what you really do and you've gotten there.
I do work hard, but for the most part, I would say it's just vibes and inshallah, man. It's just luck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it. But yeah, I do get some people say that, you're a natural at it and there's no way you can just be like, I don't want this gift. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
So, luck and hard work, what do you believe in?
Both.
They both can coexist.
Both. I think they both can. But I would lean more towards hard work as opposed to luck because you can get lucky, but if you mess up and you don't put in the hard work, then you lose the shot. Yeah. But when you do put in the hard work and consistency, then, yeah.
Well, the thing with also radio is in Uganda, it's hard for just any random people to get on radio. People have to be connected. You have to be big, or probably have a big parent or someone pushing you. Radio and TV, you don't. It's not like I've tried to get on radio, and to me, it's really just been podcasting because I don't want to be censored with what I have to say. I don't want to have a boss. I don't want any of that stuff. So the one thing I know is, to my friends, mostly females, it's such a big hassle to get on radio. I have my very good friend Eva from Austria. She's tried to pitch a lot of stuff to a lot of different radio stations, and they've kept turning her down, yet she has all this experience. They tell her, because she has an accent from Australia, they keep telling her that your accent is too cool or what, like that, then to actually all these urban radio stations. So she reached sometimes, she's like, no, I just can't do this. It's too much stress for me. But she talks just like you do.
Well, okay, so this is a challenge that I faced actually when I had initially joined Next Radio. Now, the good thing with Next Radio is they actually want people to experience, an international kind of
vibe.
Exactly, something of that sort. So initially when we had started out Crazy Town, it was supposed to be a grime show. We were supposed to have drill music, grime music from the UK and everything. So my accent over there wasn't a factor.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
And I feel like the reason as to why radio stations do this is so that their audience can interact properly. For example, like Zara Toto's show. Now, Zara Toto, she speaks in Luganda, so she can properly speak to everyone there at the same time. People will understand her better. But I do feel like the thing with radio stations is that they need to understand you can't just stick to one kind of audience all the time. You need to work on expanding your audience as well. Tap into different kind of audiences, and that's what they understand. So for me, honestly, my accent hasn't been that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And I feel like, tell Eva to come through, man.
Yeah, definitely. She's also going to listen to this podcast. She just left about 10 minutes ago. So when she comes, I'll recommend and you connect. Then as a woman, do you feel like the space is too saturated by male dominance, heads and what? Maybe because this is what I keep hearing on radio. I keep hearing in talk shows, and whoever starts a space or whatever organization wants to, there's so much of wanting to really uplift the girl child, which is commendable. But then, yeah, because these things actually happen, yeah. The guys that own radio stations, the bigger percentage of them are men.
Yeah.
Guys in top departments are men, stuff like that. So how is it easy for you to like rise the ranks in your profession? Oh, there's no rising ranks on radio shows.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
So this is a problem that I actually face. This is the reason as to why I don't want to move to TV. And I feel like that's the question you were going to ask me later on. Why aren't you on TV? So I have been offered so many opportunities to be on TV. But I personally do not want to be on TV because every time someone comes through my social media, these guys will literally say stuff like, oh, you have so many followers and that's because you're a girl and because you're light skinned and because you're pretty. And honestly, thank you for the compliment, but that really offends me because that means you do not value the content that I put into my page, into my work. You're just looking at me, but you're not seeing the work that I put in, the effort that I put in. You just think that, okay, so she has a platform because she's a girl, you know, and she's a painting, hey. No, but seriously, you'd be like, she's a girl, she's a painting, and you know, she's this and that, but like, you're not looking at, yo man, this girl got brains in her head, you know, she's smart, she is creative, she's a content creator for heaven's sake. So that really offends me when people say it. That's the reason as to why I personally would not want to be on television, because I want to get more into the production side of it. I want to be the brains behind the operation, not just the face. Now, to get back to your question about women and all that.
It's actually not a question, it's a discussion.
Okay, so females actually, in my opinion, I feel like so many girls get offered TV gigs because people want eye candy on screen to attract the audience, as opposed to radio. Now, radio, man, you just need to have a really nice voice. And
how do you know that because how do you rate nice voices?
I don't know, man. As long as someone can understand what you're saying and you have context to what you're saying, I feel like, and you articulate. Yeah. That's important. I feel like that's it. You have a nice radio voice. I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm telling you.
Because you're on my podcast right now, so you're
by the way, I'm actually not like that. I do not suck dudes just like that. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like, bro.
Sure thing. But why wouldn't you get on TV if you really got an opportunity to be on TV on merit? Because I feel like you'd pull off, and you're very good with creativity. I've been watching so much of your content in the past weeks. So why would that stop you because of the stereotype of how people think you're on there? If you go to TV and you're giving us something different, which we don't have, because the other thing with TV and this whole journalism thing is it's almost the same bubble. This is why I stopped watching TV. I've not watched TV in like 2 years at all.
Me neither. I don't watch TV.
How come? Your boss is listening to this. They're gonna find out you don't watch that.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bossman. I do not watch TV unless it's during election time. For the news, because I'm not gonna lie, man. NBS News is very entertaining. So yeah. But other than that, like actually sitting down and watching TV, who killed Captain Alex, I don't really do that.
So when you say NBS News is very entertaining, it also drives me back to the elections where a big chunk of people feel like you guys doctored. No, you guys, where you work from, you guys doctored the results, and you're solely responsible for the current regime being in power.
Honestly, let me just tell you, media is something that, you know, you have to be careful about what you say when you say it all the time. Now, I'm not gonna speak for my company because I had nothing to do with the
news.
NBS. All I can say is, to a certain extent, like the same way you said, you wouldn't want to be on TV because it's censored. You're not allowed to use profanity or anything of that sort. I feel like it's the same with media houses, you know. We try not to offend anyone. We try to keep it fair and neutral. And I feel like that's what my media house did. I really don't know. Obviously, people will have their own expectations and everything, but like, how do you know? Because you weren't there personally counting the ballots as well. Do you get it? It's just your own thought of it. You're like, okay, I don't think this person was supposed to get this, but you weren't there either. So no one
But
really
then
knows.
as a journalist student, right? Because that's what you did, journalism and film.
Yeah.
How do you feel about consciousness working for, because these agendas you can't skip them.
Well, I just want to say that media companies are not responsible for counting ballots. We just
forget the ballots.
we put it out there. Like, we pretty much present what has been given to us. That's what we do.
So if you now, like, you forget where you are from as a journalist scholar, what would you change to really make sure that it's just not about media pushing an agenda, or it's just not business like it is? Because at the end of the day, I know it's the highest bidder, the guy who's bringing the most ads will get the most airplay. It doesn't matter what they're on about. This is why we have media houses that push, pastors that manipulate people in broad daylight, but they still have to push their agenda because they're paying. And that is how business works. If I have the money, you can just push my agenda. Do you ever feel like, did you do journalism to change something? In this space, why did you do journalism?
Well, honestly speaking, I did journalism because I was scared that I would be shit at anything else I did. Let me be honest with you. It's not the first thing that came to my mind. It's not really what I put my heart and my soul into. And I feel like if I wasn't doing media, I would be doing charity work. You know, I'd be working with the UN. I'd be doing social work, basically. That's where my passion and my everything is.
Do you have like ideas?
I love film. Yeah, I really love film. Film is amazing. I have so many friends that...
have you acted?
I have, actually. I wouldn't say I'm the best because I don't know how to do that thing.
What films? Because I've not come across any of them.
So most of my acts haven't been actually like proper films. It's been more of in theater. You know, so I did Puppet Master. I've been acting in so many school plays right from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been in a couple of plays and skits and yeah.
So what do you think about Ugandan film? How come we're not there yet? Maybe like Nollywood.
I don't know what you're talking about, because
not.
Ugandan film, I feel like Ugandan film is actually doing really good, and I do know for a fact that we can do much better, obviously. But I wouldn't say we're not there. I do think we're there. We have the likes of Lukman Ali.
Yeah.
We've got Kwesi,
Lukman Ali is doing really good work.
He is.
But still,
you got to start from somewhere, man. Rome was not built in a day.
So you're saying we're just on the path to get where
Definitely. I feel like filmmakers work really, really hard.
Yeah.
So I cannot discredit them, especially in
I can't
Uganda,
discredit. That is my industry. These cameras are rolling here.
where resources are very scarce. I mean, okay, so if you were in Kenya, you could literally just walk to a Sony shop and buy whatever camera you want. You could. I don't know if they have Canon there. It's been such a while since I've been there, but in Uganda, you have to ship these things. It's very costly, very expensive. Do you know? So for a country where the resources are just not available, like oxygen, do you know what I mean? I think we're doing really, really well.
Okay, that makes sense. Would you rate any movies from Uganda and you'd be like, there's all that Lukman Ali work. That's really genius. You said you're doing screenplays? You've done screenplays?
Yes, I have.
Do you have titles I can search up?
Puppet Master.
Okay.
So that was a production that we did about mental health with a few friends of mine that go to Watoto Church. It was a Watoto Church production. And I genuinely had a good time there.
What are you guys talking about mental health?
Mental health. There was a whole bunch of stuff. It was peer pressure, substance abuse, relationships. You know, we kind of tackled everything that pretty much affects your mental health. Family relationships, school, stress, money, all that stuff basically falling into one.
Yeah, speaking of money, it reminds me of one of your conversations online I read where you were saying people who rent, socialites, actually, who like rent and sell a picture to everyone else, and everyone else wants to be like them. Because then you had this other friend of yours who has a house but then fancies some other lifestyle.
Yeah.
But having a house is cliche right now because it's even expensive to build. If I had the money to build, let's say, a house of 300 million, I wouldn't build it. I would keep renting.
Okay.
Because it does not make sense to build a house to sit there when I do not have all this. I can't put my money into a house just for the fact that I have to have a house as a man.
No, actually. Now, I think you kind of misunderstood my point that I was making there. Okay. So this is someone who owns land that is pretty much their family land. You know, they inherited it.
Yeah.
However, they want to move into... so they've been seeing celebrities living in... What's that apartment? Speak apartments. Yeah. And, you know, having condos and all that stuff. And these guys are like, man, I feel so unachieved because I'm not living in a bougie place like this. So I was like, hold on a second. You have your own land. Do you know that land is actually money? It's an asset. It's an asset as opposed to paying rent every day. Now, here's where your idea comes a little bit into play with me.
Yeah.
So you've said that you wouldn't want to have...
A house right now,
yeah. Right? But... if you spend a lot of money on rent, do you realize how much money you would have saved if you were just living in your own home?
But if I have the money to build a house,
how I would suggest
use that money.
I suggest you go about it. Yeah, you can build a house, and if you don't want to live in it, don't live in it. You can rent it out, which makes you more money to accommodate the place where you want to live or rent. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
But having a house is an asset. That's something that I cannot.
But the thing is, with the real estate bubble, it's if I build a house and rent it out, it's hard for you to make back the money that I've actually put into it. But you will always have a home. You will always have a home. I mean, what happens if what's the value of just always having a home if you don't have cash flows and all that stuff? I feel like we've just been embedded and it's just a belief system we've all just grown up with. Yeah, it's important to have a home, family, settle and all that stuff, but I do not have a family right now. Yeah. So there's no point in me investing my money into a house to sit somewhere. First of all, land is extremely expensive. So the best I can do right now is to build a house, say in Nakwero, someplace verified. You don't look like someone who has an idea where it is, but so if I put my house outside, I spend about 30,000 to get to town to see my friends, just to hang out. Yeah. Then I am taking away the luxury of just staying in town next to my friends where I can hang out, create stuff, get to know ideas, meet people. Because now I have to be confined into my home. Because that is what it dictates. I do not have a lot of money, apart from the guys that are stealing from the government. Those are guys who will just go and buy land, billions, and wherever it is, they can even buy in town. But I'm saying a normal, accountable life. You've left campus, you've gotten a good job, you're here, you've saved up this money, you've started something, and you have money to start a house. It would not make any viable sense to invest your money in a house. You'd rather really keep multiplying until, because then again, I have a dream house. I just don't want to build any random house because I just want to have a house. Yeah, like I have a dream of this is what I want my home to look like.
Part of the reason as to why I'm saying your situation is completely different from the situation that I raised up. My situation was one where this person already has the land. They have inherited it. As opposed to you buying. Now, I'm not telling people, hey, go out and buy a house so you can look big and shit. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying when you do have your own land, it's an asset because now you're looking at it.
Do you know some of the issues that come with family land?
Hold on a second. Okay. You're looking at it. Yes, I do actually, because I'm having those family issues right now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Now, with you, basically, you're a bachelor right now, okay? And you're thinking short term, you know? But
no, I'm thinking long term.
If you are thinking long term, then you will see how you not having a house in the future would impact you when you do have a family. Do you know what I mean? Because you will have to spend rent, school fees, fuel in your car if you do have a car. Yeah.
But the plan is to use the money that I'm supposed to build my house right now. Yeah, to use it to create chains of income that can facilitate things like school fees.
Yes, there's steps to being. This is why I said there's a difference between being wealthy and rich, and you need to understand which one you want. So being rich is just having money. Being wealthy is having a continuous flow of money. Do you understand? There's like a big, big, big difference. Now, with your situation, basically, I do agree completely. One of the steps of being wealthy is investing in things that generate you money long term. You know, like buying assets, buying shares in businesses, maybe investing in Bitcoin if you have the ability to do so. But when it comes to owning something, that is something you own as opposed to renting, which is more. I don't know.
But at the end of the day,
that would
we all
make
die
sense to
and
you.
leave everything here. So
Yeah, and
what you attach yourself to.
you leave something for your legacy. You want your legacy to suffer? Do you want your people to just be on vibes for just like that?
How do you imagine your legacy? How do you want to live? Like if you had to die today?
If I had to die today? Damn, that's a deep question. Like I've been here for less than 15 minutes and he's trying to kill me already. Like he's trying to kill me off the show. Like, oh boom, you're dead. Shit. Oh my god. Okay, let me see. If I was to die today, I would pass away knowing that well, right now I don't have kids, obviously, but I do have 2 sisters and I do have a house. So I would know that even if I'm dead, they're settled. They're never going to be on the street because they couldn't afford to make up the rent. You know, I mean, one day in Uganda, really, one day you have a job, the next you don't. One day you have 7 mil, the next day you have 20K. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Money comes and it goes. So on the
If
days...
you don't have a formula to it, does the statement say for people who just wanna the guy there keeps saying
What is
things
he
you just
saying?
wanna hide? Money comes and it goes. Yeah, but if you really make money and you understand the metrics around money, you can make sure you don't lose it.
But that's the thing. Even people who are really rich could lose their money just like that. Bill Gates could,
No,
just like that.
he's not lost his money.
He hasn't
Yeah.
lost it, but it's a very big
So it's just a
possibility.
belief system that we
See,
really think,
if
because
he-
when you have
The reasons why he wouldn't lose his money, number one, is because he invests in things that are permanent, like actually having your own house, as opposed to renting out a place. That is something that
Elon
can just
Musk,
go, just
one
like
of the
that.
richest people, at some point was living, according to his story.
Was living, and
Yeah,
now
because
does he still live?
No,
Does he still
he didn't
live?
have even money for rent, but he had money to invest.
Yeah.
This is the point I'm trying
And
to
he
make.
invested, and what was some of the first things he invested in? Buying his own house.
Yeah.
Do you get the point that I'm making?
But after invest, no, but he first invested in actually businesses. He invested in SpaceX. then
That was
Tesla and all
first,
stuff.
and then after, what did he?
Because
invest in?
then you've made money to have the house, and that is my point. Like it does not. It's not such a big deal to own a house. That is my whole point.
Okay.
Like you'd rather. I would live. If
It
I
is-
died today, I'll be better off comfortable, thinking that, you know what, I've been trying to empower all these people. I've been trying to work with all these people. I've been trying to create a lot of stuff with a lot of different people, and it's been working. But then I'm dead. But I wouldn't really think of the fact that, you know what, I've left a house back. And that's cool. And I already have a child, so I still didn't think of the fact that, oh, my son needs to be in a house because they have to live their life. Yeah, they have to come up the chains. On
Now
their
you
own
see,
ground.
the thing is, when you have an asset that is yours, fully yours,
Yeah.
you can always just sell it out when you need money. Do you know what I mean? Now, for example, if you do have your own place and your son happens to grow up and he sells this place, he can literally make money off something that you left him that was his. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
If you and your son live in a rented apartment and God forbid you pass on, who's going to cover his rent? Him. And let's say he fails to make that money, where is he going to go?
But I'm
Back
building
to
my
live
son
in
to
your
make sure
family
that
home.
he has to cover his rent with or without me. That is the mindset. of
That's
my
the
son
thing,
too.
but like you might be in your head, you might be raising him up for that, but then remember he has to work with the rest of the world, and the rest of the world has their own agenda. Not everyone is going to be like, oh, that's Mark's son, let's give him a job. Oh, that's Mark's son, let's help him pay his rent. Do you know what I mean? One day Mark's son is just going to be Mark's son. That's it. When you pass away, people start to forget you. By the time Mark's son has Mark's son's son, Mark's son's son, no one's going to remember you, no offense.
Yeah,
and
that's
when
right.
people don't remember you, who's going to help your son figure out the rest of his shit?
Himself. That's the whole point.
Well, you know what they say. They say women are actually 5 years mentally older than men. So it makes sense. In 5 years, we're going to have this conversation again. And I'm pretty sure by then you will actually
Do they say that?
understand
The women are
why
like that?
it's better. It is actually. It's scientifically proven.
But if it is scientifically proven, then we wouldn't have all these women crying all about equal opportunities. If that is true.
I actually do think women should have
empowerment
equal opportunities.
I stand for that. Yeah. But then what you just said means that if you are, what did you just say? Can you just repeat it? Women are 5 years mentally older than men. Mentally older than men. If women were 5 years mentally older than men, they would not be in position to be oppressed in the first place, because you'll be 5 years ahead
to be
of us.
oppressed in the
because
first.
they've been oppressed by systems,
Please
the patriarchy
tell me.
systems.
I'm pretty sure you're one of the people who thinks Kanye West was right by saying that black people chose to be enslaved. Are you one of the people who stands by? Because that's exactly what you sound like, saying that women. It's like saying women chose to be.
No, but if they're 5 years mentally ahead of men, then why are they in that position? It's like black man, white people. Like if because white people have come taken all our resources, and these are excuses we keep giving ourselves as black people. So it does not make sense to me most times that we have to just hide to where we want to feel safe and create all these excuses instead of really, really coming. And look at Kanye West, from debt to a billionaire. That is the mindset we should all have. No excuses.
Shall we move on? Because if I have this conversation with you, it's gonna go all kinds of.
No, but that didn't make sense to me. The whole women are 5 years mentally. I don't even remember the word you used, but yeah, it's not right. It just can't be right. Like we're just all human beings, probably created in God's image or not. But we're just all human beings, and fuck the system. The patriarchy system is so fucked up. I want an equal plate for my son and daughter at any time. Yeah, that's what I believe in. But it's also being exaggerated from my view, because look, at HSC women are given points. At every job now people advertise, they put the disclaimer: being a woman is an added advantage. Everything, so the boy child is put on a step where now they have to fight twice. The parliament has a slot for women MPs, but the same woman MP can actually stand for the municipal MP position at in the same space. So you can still be a constituency, can still have an MP who's a woman and still then get a woman MP. So you see how all that is a bit unfair to society.
I feel like I'm not really well versed in politics.
Not just politics, yeah.
But for the longest time, there's been certain things that men have been allowed to do that women haven't been allowed to do, like eating chicken and eggs, like wearing trousers. That might seem small to you, but for the longest time, women haven't been able to do that. What's wrong if women start doing that? I mean, for the longest time, the world has been dominated by men. And honestly, I don't really...
What do you mean dominated by men?
Dominated by men in a sense that you guys would go to work and we would stay home to cook and clean. And now we are actually filling in sports and you guys feel threatened by that. Do you know what I mean?
But
what's wrong if women actually want to...
I feel like the whole you stay home cook is a balanced thing that was misunderstood by the world. It's I go fetch for whatever has to be done in the home, because staying home to cook is another job. I probably can't handle it. I can't stay home and cook for my family and take care of things. It's harder than just going to make bricks if that is my job. I find that extremely hard. I'd rather go make bricks. But then women are designed differently. Yeah? The fragile, the delicate, that is just how, naturally that is how it is. So I feel like it was just misunderstood from the beginning. And because people know how to push agendas, there's money involved, this is why we have all this activism coming up. Not all of it is wrong, but most of it is having money just being backed. Like, because you see, if you to look at other activism, like let's say BLM, you'll find that there's a rich billionaire who has injected money, who's actually white in this case, who's injecting all this money into staff, and that is how I feel about it.
Okay. All right then. You know, honestly, I'm the kind of person who doesn't really argue with people. In my defense, I'm not really how do I say it? I'm not really an exchange kind of person. You've told me your opinions, and I'm just gonna say okay to
What
them.
are your opinions?
My opinions are completely different.
I want to hear them.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go back and forth. I just want to hear them so I understand them. I could learn from them.
Laugh from them.
Learn from them.
Learn from them. Okay. So my opinions, honestly, bruh.
Yeah.
I just feel like everyone has one life.
That's right.
You should just let people live their life. If I want to be an MP and someone else stands up to be a co-MP or something of that sort, and she is a woman and she can do the job, let her do the job regardless of what
my
she's
issue
got
with that, I
between
think
her
you
legs.
didn't understand
Let
my
her
issue
do
with
the
that.
job.
My issue with that is, but you said you're not big on politics, so I'm going to teach you. I'm going to just highlight something probably you do not know. So a constituency like Kampala, the district has an MP.
Yeah.
Which MP can be man or woman, guaranteed. Yeah.
Okay.
Then, just because women, the agenda is women are stepped onto, Kampala still gets a woman MP, but no man MP. Like there's another position that strictly has to be a woman. Do you understand my point?
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. Now that is wrong in my opinion. That is unfair to the men and to society. That's not leveling up. That is not equal opportunity. That is overpowering.
But the reason as to why they put that there is because if they have to secure the job for the woman MP. They have to secure it because for the longest time, let's say a woman wants to be in power, they'll say no, it's a man's job. That's why they have those spots specifically for women so that men can't say shit about it. A woman has to be there. Now, if another chick stands up for a position that's either man or woman and she wins, that's her luck. That's genuinely her luck. Now, obviously, I do understand.
No, that means she's won competition. That on a
But people get elected. Do you realize that people get elected?
Exactly.
Do you realize that the person who gets elected is the person with the higher votes? Do you realize that men also vote for these women MPs? So sit down with your gender.
No, men don't vote for women MPs. Oh yeah, they do.
Men don't vote for
but
women MPs.
That is what I'm telling you, that if a woman can stand, and I want to get off this conversation right after this, if a woman can stand to be MP in Kampala on the same slate as a man, like the MP for Kampala is either woman or man, then there's no point to have a woman MP for Kampala just because a woman has to say something. It is extremely very unfair.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think about
Okay.
that. I like how you just say okay.
Say okay. I'm not gonna flex. Okay. Thank you for sharing.
Let's
your
talk about
opinions
stereotypes. I was listening to that in your talk. Stereotypes, racial stereotypes.
Honestly speaking, to a certain extent, I do feel like I do not want to touch that topic with your mind because you seem a little bit on the opposite side of the way I think.
Maybe I'm also just
this is a conversation that is very, very sensitive to my heart. Yeah. So for
now, I want to listen to you. I'm not even going to give my opinion.
This would be a conversation where I would choose violence, but let us proceed with caution.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What would you like to know?
I just want to know about how you've been affected by stereotypes. Yours. Yeah.
Okay, so stereotypes happen a lot. You know, I wouldn't want to compare the situations or the experiences that I've had as a Ugandan in Uganda, as a light-skinned person in Uganda, to what's going on in the States with BLM. But they kind of mirror each other in a sense that over here, the majority of the population is dark-skinned. And then you have that one Muchotara kid who happens to be me. Do you know what I mean? So people tend to... There is a lot of racism. I'm not even gonna lie. There is a lot of racism. The only problem with speaking about it is people try to dismiss it. People try to compare it. People try to say things like, but I don't see why you're affected. You're light-skinned, you're privileged. And I'm just like, bro. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because we do face a lot of issues. I mean, I can walk on the street and people are like, go back to your country. And I'm like, this is my country. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've got people who I can be like, yo, I'm Ugandan. They're like, nah, what are you? And I'm like, what am I? You tell me what I am. Educate me. Teach me about who I am. Do you understand? Yeah. So we go through all this stuff. We go through, when I go see, let's say I go see my mom's side of the family, they can literally be like, yo, man.
Your mom is the Ugandan?
Yes. These guys can literally be like, oh, man, anyways, she has an accent. She thinks she's hot shit, you know. She's a Muzungu. She thinks she's from where, you know.
They're intimidated.
Exactly.
By your presence.
And then when I go to my dad's side of the family, they can be like, yo, man, you're becoming Daka. Are you in the sun so much? And you're like, do you get me?
Yeah.
It's like there's a very big clash. To a point where I had a conversation with my dad before I went for my TED Talk. And also with my sister. I mentioned it in the TED Talk. I asked my sister, what do you identify as? And she's like, I tell people I'm Eritrean. And I'm like, there's no Eritrean blood in us. Do you know what I mean? Then I spoke to my dad about it. And I'm like, Dad, are there moments in time where you feel ashamed of my sister and I, you know? Or is there moments in time? Because I'm not going to lie. When we go to my dad's side of the family, not my dad's family, but the people around tend to be racist. They can be like, oh yeah, that's the guy who married the black woman. Do you know what I mean? Oh, their kids are not, they're not really like us. They're different.
That is a lot of ignorance, and
for the most part.
Yeah, there's a lot of ignorant people. Oh. So how do you deal with that? How do you go about your life?
I've reached a point in time where I try as much as possible to educate people. But when that doesn't work out, you know, you have to choose violence. If you don't want to choose violence, you just choose to ignore it. You just choose what I like to call okay. That's what I do. Whenever I'm trying to avoid fights with people, just okay. So when I tell someone, hey, I'm a Ugandan, and they're like, no, okay. You're from the States, okay. You're Middle Eastern, okay. I'll just accept it. Because it really pisses people off when you don't go back and forth with them. Yeah, you just choose your peace of mind.
So in cases where just not about comments from people, yeah? And I know that they can be very hurting. Dark-skinned people also get comments. In school, you like charcoal, stuff like that. We still... Yeah, so it cuts across. Do you ever get really affected? Jobs, get into places like something of real... I don't want to call this not of substance. That insults and all that, because this is how we live. You're supposed to live with your society and the people around you and all that stuff. But cases like, oh, okay, no, we can't employ her because she's like this.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, there is a lot of privilege. I mean, so many people do want to employ you because you're eye candy. But that's the part where I say it affects me in the sense that I do not want to be associated as just another girl in a skimpy dress being there for attention. Do you understand? So it has affected me in a sense that I don't really like being out there. And so many of my producers have told me, Simran, you're holding yourself back. You can do amazing things. You can be big in Uganda. You can do this and that. But I'm just here declining everything. I'm like,
but I didn't think that is the winning mentality you need to adopt to, the scout mentality of knowing, can it be true? That is wrong. But is it true? Like, okay, you know that all this stuff is happening. But then you personally know what's right for you. And you just go about it and win. Then, because for you to actually make impactful change, you need to rise a lot, so that probably you can help your sister. You need to really get into a bigger position where you can make a real... Because right now it will be just another Mochotala saying some shit. That maybe no, that one feels she's unique or special, stuff like that. But then if you have the opportunity to actually use the same
platform
and the same situation to just get...
Honestly, I have considered doing that, but honestly, I'm a person of principle and I believe in the process of things, which is why I've decided to gradually grow. I mean, I'm not trying to think of myself as hot shit or anything, but if I did join a TV station or get on TV and get more exposure, I do feel like it would be significant. I would grow very drastically overnight, you know, but that's not something that I feel like I'm ready for. Because like I said, this industry is not something that I chose. It chose me, you know?
What does that mean?
It means it wasn't my... I would...
You'd be, what, a lawyer somewhere?
Let me just say, there's like two sides to me, right? Yeah. There's the on-media side, which is Daddy Sims, and then there's just Sims, you know? Now, Daddy Sims, my professional life, I interact with people, I laugh with people, I talk to people, I'm engaging. But when I get away from that,
and you're seeing,
I'm
like
so
you're on the podcast
antisocial.
right now?
Honestly, I actually strongly dislike being out there completely because it's so draining. My social battery runs out. As soon as I get home, honestly, after a day of speaking to everyone, I just want my silence, my peace of mind, my quiet. I don't want to even speak to anyone, which is a bad habit because I'm sure as you've noticed, I've messaged you like once a day. And let me tell you, that's because we were building up to the podcast. But when it comes to messaging, I'm just terrible. So many people tell me, Mans, are you just always busy? And honestly, I have my phone in my hand all the time. I'm just going through memes or watching anime or playing video games, but I'm not actually trying to talk to people.
Why?
Because I speak to people all the time. I just want my silence. I just want, my space. So there's just those two sides of me. Now, I happened to do media because it's something that I'm really good at doing. And honestly speaking, you've just finished high school, you're about to get into university, you have no sense of direction, you're scared of messing up. You go for the one thing that you know you're good at as opposed to, something you actually want to do because
What did you want to do?
I wanted to work in social work, do charity, work with the UN. I wanted to be a teacher of English and literature or a professor. That's something that I would rather do as opposed to being a journalist or being in this field. This is a field that genuinely chose me. So for me, all the growth that I've done on my own, it's just me learning. I wouldn't want to just skyrocket and be famous tomorrow,
Should I expect you
It's
to start
something
like
I'm
a
just-
charity organization for yourself in the future?
I can't say I promise to, but it's something that I really do hope that I get to do.
I actually have a charity organization. It's
Really?
called, yeah. Started it over my friend. She passed on. She had cancer. So probably we can work on a few projects on that.
Yeah. I'm actually really big on cancer because I lost my grandparents who pretty much raised me up my entire life to cancer, both of them. And then I have a friend whose mom has cancer. Cancer is shit.
It's shit. It took my best friend.
Yeah.
She was really my best friend, and real best friend, like it's just not friend, real best friend. And she was female, and that's crazy. And I did everything. That's the thing. She was also very privileged, but it still failed. Cancer still won, so it was really tricky in that. Rest in peace, Alice.
Rest in peace, Alice.
That's crazy. Okay, let's go into you. Who's Daddy Sims? Why did you choose Daddy Sims? What does that even mean?
So I told you I'm big on gaming, right? So Daddy Sims actually came by every time I would play with the guys. The boys and I would always play video games and all. Because honestly speaking, I do have more male friends than I do female friends because I kind of grew up as a tomboy and I've just always been closer to the guys than to the girls. So playing video games with my boys, every time I would win them, I'd be like, who's your daddy? Who's your daddy? And they'd be like, Daddy Sims. So it became something that just stuck. And honestly, I love being called Daddy Sims.
I don't like where my mind is right now.
You naughty, pleasing me.
But yeah.
So Daddy Sims happened, and honestly, it kind of stuck because so many guys actually these days they're like, how'd you get girls to call you daddy? And I'm like, I just have game, man. I just have game. I have more girls calling me daddy than more girls calling this one guy daddy. And I'm like, it is what it is.
Wow.
It's a brand. It's a brand.
That is very interesting. Interesting. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Most of the things that happen in my life just happen from vibes. Genuine vibes.
I want to believe that, but you're also just choosing to believe that there's this other book I've been reading that is totally against that type of
share your philosophy with me and I will share my philosophy with you.
Please,
and I do plan on being open-minded.
Yes. Start with your philosophy.
I would want to hear yours first.
So it is more of I'm still reading the book. So it is more of just basking into. So there's two things, yeah. There's this herb of the fox and the grapes. So a grapes tree is like up, and it has all these grapes. So the fox comes to where the grapes are. It wants the grapes, but it can't get up to the grapes. So it concludes that, you know what, the grapes are sour. and then he goes back, tells everyone, you know what, grapes are sour. Fuck off with grapes. Don't fuck with grapes anymore. I feel like that is the whole thing of mine is just vibes. Like, yes, you're in that direction, but it's just comfortable for you to be there, so you don't want to get into what you can actually do, because this is comfortable and you can just hide it. It's not bad. It's helping you socialize. Probably you don't even have to put in all this harder work you really have to, and it's just okay. Just like when you're in an argument with someone, you just be like, no, it's okay, because it's easier for you to just bask on and be like, it's okay.
Oh no,
You've chosen to be that person.
No, it's just that I get heavily triggered by fights and everything. So I just try to. I'm just a very peaceful person. Now here, let me tell you my side of it. Okay. First of all, I'm not battling anything. You seem to think I'm having demons that I'm fighting with.
Everyone has demons they're fighting.
Yeah, no, my demons are chilling right now. They're probably high as fuck, just chilling. Do you know what I mean? Like my demons are always lit. So, there was a time recently when I had a dream that, I was watching people burn in hell for some reason. So I decided to Google what happens after you die.
Yeah.
And I read a quote by Albert Einstein that said that, what was it? He said, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one state of matter to another. And I also read on to say, he says that you cannot be cautious of the fact that you are unconscious, which means when you die, you're not actually aware that you've died. You just keep on living until you forget and you just start over. And that made me realize...
Wait, and you start over?
You start over because you've now moved from one life form to another life form. So at some point in your life, you are freaking Chester. Do you know what I mean? You were a dog, a cat, and everything. Do you know what I mean? Until you finally evolved into becoming a human being. And this philosophy, honestly, it just put my mind at peace, because I realized, like, we have one life and we try so hard to fix in everything. I mean, let's look at the expectations that we have as youths, okay? Yeah. Your expectation might be to have a big head. I'm joking. Your expectation might be to inspire the world, right? That's what you want to do. My expectation is to build for my legacy,
But my expectation, actually, let me just make it clear.
Okay.
To just be a better human being.
Better human being. Yeah. My expectation is to build for my future, my legacy. His expectations might be something completely different. I'd say he just wants to party because you live once. You live once, you know? I'm not getting theoretical. I'm just getting
rhetorical, okay?
So his expectations might be something completely different, right? But all this made me realize we have one life and we try so hard to navigate this one life because we're so worried that whatever direction we choose to go in is going to be our only choice. But people don't realize, like, you get to live other lives after this one life. So you can have multiple chances to mess up or choose another way that you want to live yours. And that made me realize it's not that deep. It's not that serious.
Did you really believe that there's life after death?
I do.
Why?
Because it just puts my mind at peace, and I don't want to stress myself out thinking about the rest of that. It's not.
Because then I think putting your mind at peace would be believing, like me, like when you die, you're dead. That's it.
You live a very sadistic life. I'm pretty sure you chose sciences in A-level. Did you not?
Yes.
Yeah, that's why I can't connect with this guy completely. I just can't. Because I'm a complete artist. Scientists, I feel, are so close-minded. Honestly, it's so rare for me to find a scientist that I actually just vibe with,
Wow.
Because otherwise it's always like a big clash.
Because the whole death thing really... And I've tried to practice with Jehovah's Witnesses.
So if you die, you die, yes. But your own scientist, Albert Einstein, said you don't actually.
But that's just die. Albert Einstein.
You don't cease to exist.
I don't want to believe what Albert Einstein did. I want to really believe what's very realistic to me. That's the whole point. When I'm dead, at that point, I'm just dead. That is what I want to believe. And I feel... I don't want you to believe that, really. Like, a lot of people don't believe this. They don't want to.
No, I mean, if you die, you die. Yeah.
Because then, with this goes back to religion. Yeah. With times, grew up Catholic. My parents are Catholic, so of course the religion just has all these things going on that I don't agree with. Then comes growing up. Then I get into a few life issues, trying to find my faith and religion. So my faith. So I get to practice with Jehovah Witnesses, and this is like the best time in my life at some point, because I used to have this guy come over to do like Bible study all the time. So then I realized that the whole point of all this is just to promise you to live a life you don't even know exists. Like, because the whole thing around Christianity and all these people, Islam, they're just saying that, you know what, be good now, or you have to practice being good, so that on the final day, when they're going to make a judgment and you have to die, you can make it to the everlasting life that you already don't have now, but that is like, I'm fighting to get there. And it just doesn't make sense to me.
But do you realize how that actually makes people better people than they're supposed to be, than they are? I mean, you've seen how human beings that can literally kill people.
Yeah.
They can do all kinds of stuff. They can rob people. You've seen the riots. You've seen the wars. You've seen everything. If we didn't have a sense of hope or belief, I mean, we would just be savages. The world would be in freaking purgatory, or what purgatory looks like in movies, because I've never been to purgatory. I feel like you might go there, though.
Have you seen atheists?
Have I what?
Have you interacted with an atheist?
I have, actually. There was a point in time where I wouldn't say I was an atheist, because I do believe in God. I just don't believe in religion.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I know. I also don't understand people who keep throwing around that statement. I believe in God, but I don't believe in religion.
Oh, okay, well,
yeah.
I expected that from you, but it's okay. Let's move on. I really expected that from you. So with religion, honestly, I feel like religion is a man-made concept. It's not a God-made concept. I don't think God woke up on one morning.
How did you find out about God in your life?
I was born in an Islamic family.
Interesting.
And I was pretty much conditioned to grow up as a Muslim, you know, but none of that really stuck with me, because I had questions to ask, and every time I asked these questions,
no answers.
The answers were
Vague.
underwhelming. They were underwhelming, unrealistic, and they just didn't stick with me, you know. And I'm not the kind of person who just I don't just come. I make research. So I kind of moved around the different religions, and every time I'd ask a question, people were more fixated on telling me why the other religion is bad, as opposed to telling me why this religion is good. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't really like shitting on people.
That is the only first thing we really share together.
Off,
yeah.
You know, that really turned me off. So I decided to just believe in God, because here's my concept on it. This is my understanding of it. Okay. I feel like the concept of God is too big to be comprehended by the human brain the same way. So Mark will find Peter, who will find John, who will find Sarah, Lisa, who all kind of understand the concept of God the same way, and then they'll go and classify themselves in a group as Christians. Then you'll find Muhammad, Abdullah, Fahim, Fahima, Fatiha, Farida, who understand God a completely different way. They go and classify themselves as Muslims. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like religion is a man-made concept based off people finding similarities in their beliefs and choosing to become a group. However, I do feel like God is just one entity. So I pray to God and I practice spirituality as opposed to religion. What I do is I'll find the things that the prophets used to preach about, you know, like being peaceful, doing zakat, that's basically doing charity, giving to the less fortunate, not being a pain in the ass to people, just damage control. And that's what I do. That's how I live my life. I live my life spiritually. I pray to God or talk to God.
I do everything you just mentioned.
There you go. So you're a spiritual person as opposed to religious, and there's nothing wrong with that.
That man has had that, so it's interesting. He's been trying to convince me to become an Islam and all that stuff. Yes. So it's tricky, and not in a bad way, but I've also had almost a similar issues with. I don't want to hate religion, because then it doesn't make sense that a lot of people have to follow it. So I always have these questions that, does that make me smarter, or I'm actually the dumb one? And because all these people just can't be smart.
Let me put you at peace, yeah. Don't even try to compare yourself to people.
But
just
you have
believe in what you believe in and just live your best life.
Again,
that will make you peaceful, son. You seem like a troubled soul. That's what I'm saying. You need to learn how to say okay. Just say okay. Like, believe in what you believe in and just say okay to everything everyone else believes in. That's it. Trust me, you will be peaceful as a scientist.
Let me tell you something as to why comparison cannot be skipped out of life. Yeah? Because that is how...
That's what determines that you're better than everyone
No,
else.
no, no. You don't actually have to be better than everyone. That is how
But
you
that's
weigh
the reason
yourself.
as to why people do comparison, because you're trying to be better than everyone else. Once
Do you ever
realize
compare
it's not-
yourself to anything?
No,
That's a lie.
I really don't.
That's a lie.
Very, very rarely do I compare myself to anything.
But you still have to do at some point. Like it just has to come.
Give me an example, and I'll tell you if I've ever, like, if I do actually, because I'm pretty sure in the past I have, but I told you, I've become a very zen person to a point where I don't compare myself to anyone. Someone will come and say, yo, Mark is a better presenter than you. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. Because I know my way of doing it is different from everyone else's. Once you learn
I have
that,
watched your
show.
about 20 minutes into your podcast with the Tribe EG, the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And this is how you actually started the show. Yes, you're born for this, but it was just because it was so natural. You started by telling the guy that, oh, look, I'm a better presenter than you. Just that.
Yeah, do you realize that, like I said, there's on air and then there's off air? You have to say, as an on air person, there's a certain way you have to conduct yourself to be entertaining.
Do you want to really believe that you have two different personalities? And you can coexist in both of them?
Yes. I don't see why not.
You're two-faced?
I don't say I'm two-faced. I just say I'm just me, man. I'm just different. The way I present myself to people out there is different from my personal self. And you learn that when you get into media. You realize, like, there's two completely different versions of you. There's the life of the party, and then there's just...
Yeah, okay.
There's just
that
you
makes
who's
sense.
just chilling. There's
Yeah,
just
that
two
makes
sides.
sense.
I wouldn't say two-faced. Now, two-faced is something that just means I'll come to your face and I'll lie to you about something. Do you know what I mean? Two-faced is not really... I don't think it's the right word to term it. But to each his own.
Yeah. Okay. When you talk about being in the media, so I believe because I'm not even in media, but I know that my online presence is very different from the life I live. Like
exactly. Like there's certain things you can't say on air that these might be your own personal opinions to you as Mark. Do you get what I mean? To be completely unfiltered is a beautiful thing. I'm not gonna lie. I respect people who are themselves 24/7 and they say shit and they don't have to answer to anyone.
Yeah, that's why I started a podcast as well.
Exactly. Now that might be you, but then again, there's also certain things I'm sure you censor yourself on.
No.
No?
No, not podcast.
Then you're a beautiful soul. Do you see that? I didn't have to insult you despite the fact that I don't agree with you. I think that's something that I can appreciate. Like, wow, you're completely unfiltered. Now I have to think about what I say because I have so many people looking up to me. Now see, that's the difference.
Yeah.
People look up to you because you're unfiltered. People look up to me because of their own other reasons. Maybe people look up to me because
you're pretty.
They relate.
Okay, that I know.
Because they relate to me in a sense that she doesn't really have to be out there to make an impact. Do you know what I mean? So I don't have to be out there to make an impact as well. Different people really.
What do you make of your whole life?
My whole life?
Yeah.
I'd say my whole life is just a timeline, man. This is just a timeline that I'm in.
Just scroll.
Literally. It's just a timeline. I'm honestly just trying to make the best of it, be the best possible version of myself while making the best possible version of people as well. But it's also made me realize that as Mark, as Daddy Sims, you're not supposed to save everyone.
That's true.
You're not supposed to. Don't put the weight of the world on yourself. So that's just how I live my life. I just take it one day at a time.
What do you want to achieve? And when I reach at this point status, I can say that I've comfortably lived.
I feel like my answer is going to be so underwhelming for you.
Yeah.
I just want to be happy. I don't
What's
care
the
about...
definition of happiness?
My
and now,
definition
because
of
I'm only
happiness?
asking this question because whatever you're saying is very interesting to me. This is very interesting.
My definition of happiness, honestly, is just being pleased with what I've done so far. Looking back at all the things that I've accomplished and just being happy, being fulfilled, having known that, okay, these are my two friends and I have done the most that I could, to make them happy, to be happy. It's just feeling achieved. I would say for the most part, that's all that I want. I just want to.
If I gave everyone in this room about $200, they'll feel happy. But it might not make me happy because maybe I have money I'm washing. Yeah. So I want like an actual definition of what you would term as happiness for you or
for me,
people around
honestly,
you?
happiness is just genuinely feeling warmth in your heart, you know, just feeling overwhelmed by the fact that you've played an important role in someone's life, or you've accomplished something, or you're just proud of yourself. That's what happiness is to me. Feeling fulfilled, satisfied. That's really all that I want. I'm not looking into being bloody rich or having 10 babies or doing something like punching you in the face. I just want to be happy.
Do you want to have babies?
Of course, don't you? I mean, you already do, don't you?
Yeah, I already have a baby.
I feel like you don't want more, do you?
No.
One headache is enough for this man. One headache is enough for him, including his own self being a headache. Yeah, both of you are okay.
Just shoot. Okay.
You're gonna cut that part out, right?
No, I won't.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. Something has just run out of my head, and it was very interesting. Okay, fuck. No,
we're talking about babies.
No, not really just babies. If you had to go back and meet God, and you had the options to become a boy or girl, what would you choose?
Honestly, it's hard for me to decide because
you're already daddy sins. You're living.
Daddy sins, obviously. I don't know. I don't think I'd have a preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just roll with the flow with the next one.
So in your next life, you became, how do you call yourself, struggling addict? So, if you become back as a man, let's actually go into that. Radio comes with all my friends. I do not know. All the people I know that are into radio have also had to deal with a lot of drug problems because I do not know if it's a media thing, but yeah, I don't know if it's a fast life, it's a camera life, it's a TV life.
Yeah.
But a big chunk of my friends. Have you had any of this stuff, issues and stuff? Okay.
Not really. I drink water, man.
Just
You're
that.
halal, innit?
But because you're also grown up Muslim, right?
Yeah, but also because for the most part, I'd say I'm just a naturally very hyper person. So I don't really need to be on drugs or on some kind of substance to be like that. Do you know what I mean? That's something that...
But then sometimes it's just not about hype and all that stuff. I could really just want to be happy. This is why I smoke weed. Just be happy sometimes. That is what I'm looking for.
So that's your definition of happiness. Honestly, for me...
it's not... No. That is how... Why did you
What
even
is
know
your
that?
definition of happiness, actually? I'm curious now.
I think I lost it. I lost my happiness at some point in life. And it was the life I was living.
Alice?
That all that combined, but not really. I feel like my happiness was the family I had envisioned and the one that I had started. And when that just blew away, it's not like I can't get that, but then I feel like I can't be that same person.
Obviously, you grow and you learn, but don't put it in your head that I can't ever be that person again, because you might. It's your perspective in it that's limited.
I don't believe in hope, and what you're telling me is to be hopeful. I feel like hope is just good for breakfast and very bad for dinner. Yeah, it's because when you reach dinner, then you're already disappointed and you're like, fuck it.
In 5 years, Mark.
Yeah.
In 5 years, when you're a bit bigger brained,
yeah,
I'm pretty sure things will align for you, and I hope they do.
I am already sure. Really, that's the other thing. Yeah, what people look at things aligning, are things I can really align.
Bobs, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, you are choosing to have problems in your own life. Like you are literally making the choice to just live the life that's just blah. Do you know what I mean? Every day you wake up and you can literally switch shit around. Like you can decide to freaking go on a holiday. You can decide to move to a whole new country and
but will that give me happiness? Because then all the times I've probably tried it, I have not gotten the happiness. Yeah.
Stop constricting yourself. Stop having a freaking restrained, confined place around you where you're not even allowing yourself to think outside the box or to just experience it because, oh my god, I am Mark and I have a big head. Do you know what I mean? Just allow yourself to do you.
again, no argument. Just really learning from you because your big brains are.
Because I refuse to argue with you.
No, no, because you're big brains. And the whole point of the podcast is to really learn from the guest, mainly to like pick a few things that you probably I didn't know. The whole people not thinking outside the box is also very cliche to me. Like everyone has this textbook stuff. We all read all this stuff, and we see life from all these other perspectives. Yeah. But then at the end of the day, you are confined on your bed alone. Let's say you have to go back to your bed, yeah, and you have all your life together, and you know that you know what, this is impossible, yeah. This probably yes, I'm gonna work because I actually work. It's like this podcast pushed it 2 years now, doesn't make any money, doesn't do all that stuff, but because I'm not out for any of that stuff.
So look at you. You have passion in your heart. Oh, that is so. I'm gonna clap for that. You have something in your heart other than stone. That is bloody amazing. Proceed.
Wow, I don't even know how to proceed. But yeah, I feel like the whole life thing is a lie. So to believe again that now I have to live for some other life just becomes very awkward for me.
I'm sorry, I just have to say, Chester just licked my leg. I don't know how to feel about that. Oh my god. Your dog is seducing me. But yeah, go on.
He likes you. He likes you.
He is cute.
Yeah, I want to throw him away. He's a pain in the ass. I do not know how to do.
I will gladly take him for you. Look at him. He just wants love. Oh, baby.
Okay, so as we really conclude. But you've answered my conclusion remarks all the time, so I don't even know how to conclude this. But yeah, what do you want to tell me? Yes,
you say you don't believe in hope and everything.
Yeah, I don't believe in hope.
I get that.
Yeah.
I do get that. But I do feel like there's going to be a point in your life where you're just going to be chill as fuck. And when you hit
I am chill as fuck. That's the whole point. Why? I don't believe in hope.
Who says I am chill as fuck when you're stressed out as hell? Like, who says that? Do you know who says that? Kakana, Kakana.
No, like, I feel like, what's the definition of being chill as fuck? Like, wait, in the 5 years, like, what do you envision?
For you?
Yeah.
In the next 5 years, honestly, man, I just see you living your best life and just not being so in your head about, because honestly, you look like you have years in your head, like you're running an entire construction farm over there, and when something that just doesn't make sense, it just tick, 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 tick. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not just smooth sailing. Like, let me tell you, mentally, you're in a construction site and I'm on a freaking beach. I'm on a yacht in Dubai, shaking my ass in a thong. That's the difference between our minds right now. Do you know what I mean? So there's a point where you're going to be on my yacht in like 5 years and you're just going to be... I don't know if you'll be in a thong or shaking your ass. I hope you are, though. That would be hilarious.
Interesting.
But you might be.
As okay.
You might be sipping pina coladas. Who knows? We'll see.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years, mans. People ask me this question a lot of the time.
It's also an interview question, so it's stupid that I ask it. But now I want to know because I've picked a lot of your mind.
In 5 years, honestly, I honestly do not have a vision for myself. I'm not gonna lie, because I told you everything in my life is just vibes and inshallah. Do you know what I mean? But in the next 5 years, hopefully, I'm doing better than I am right now, and I am more peaceful. And if I can actually hit a point of better peace than where I am right now, I do hope to get there. But I do hope that I'm better than where I am right now, and I have significantly grown. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
5 years. I want to be rich. I know I'll be richer than I am now. But I just want to really work with a lot of my friends and make sure that everyone around me can just say that it's nice to be around me. That's all I hope for any other time, all the time, yeah? Yeah.
Honestly, it is nice being around you. I'm not going to lie. The beginning of this podcast, I was like, wow, this guy has some nerve. And then a couple of minutes into it, I think I've just mellowed out and I've understood the kind of person you are. Okay,
that's interesting. But before I actually go away, you also do YouTube content.
I do.
Do you have like plans of doing your personal content? Because I would want to work with you on a lot of stuff.
Really, I actually do want to start up a YouTube. This is something that I know people are gonna be like, nah, man. She's been saying this for like the last 4 years, but it's because honestly, I end up biting a lot more than I can chew. That's something that I've realized I need to work on. I'm always just saying yes to helping people out, but I'm not actually focusing on me, myself, and I. So starting up a YouTube is something that I would want to do. I've already thought of
What do you want
ideas.
your YouTube to be about? Yeah.
See, I can't talk about it right now because it's an NDA, you know,
Okay.
until I start producing the content. It's going to be something that will be helpful to people, very many people, especially the Ugandan people, let me put it that way. Yeah.
Okay. It's really good. I would hope that we can work together on that channel. Produce a lot of it. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I do want to grow with you for the next 5 years. I'm not just that person who wants to come back for like
Nice.
another
podcast,
a conclusion,
yeah.
and then I call Mans and I'm like, hey, by the
Nice.
way, has this guy mentally grown yet or not? No, I want to be in that journey with you.
I don't feel like I'm. You just really confined me like my guy there. But fine. Cool. Thank you, Daddy Sims. Really, this has been.
Thank you for having me on the podcast.
Yeah, this has been really, really educating for me and entertaining. I love this. I loved you on the podcast. My dog loves you. So yeah.
I love your dog more than I love you.
I know.
I'm joking. No, thank you for having me on this podcast. I've had such a great time.
Same here. Yeah.